Welcome everyone today to this special class that I've created for you for your Wellness Day. I'm Kate Cuddy. My business is Kate Cuddy Yoga. I teach yoga in Glanthon. At the moment I'm teaching online as classes in the room have been cancelled. So as we're all working from home, you can tune in to me anytime you feel the need. We are today working towards stillness. So I know stillness sounds like such an obvious, easy thing, but it isn't so easy to achieve. So we use our yoga as a means of connecting first with the body and the breath to bring us into a place of stillness. So that's what we're going to do today. Just a 20-minute sample class. I'm going to condense it all down, speed it up. Speed towards stillness, that's the plan. So we're going to stand today, feet firmly grounded. So take a moment I recommend taking off your socks just so you can really feel that connection with feet to mat or carpet or floor, whatever you're standing on, it's all fine. Feel your legs starting to tighten up, so feel the muscles of your legs, become aware of those and see if you can really engage those muscles. The quadriceps at the front, hamstrings at the back, calf muscles, kneecaps. As you engage your quadriceps, you might feel your kneecaps being drawn up into your thighs a little bit, and this helps to really engage the legs. Become aware of your core, so lift the pelvic floor, so area of the perineum at the base of the pelvis. Lower belly firms in and up a little, so just tighten that in. Lengthen your spine, become aware of a stretch ability in your spine. And just take a moment to become aware of your breath here, because what we're going to be doing is synchronizing our breath and our movement. So if it helps you to close your eyes, just to become aware of nothing but the breath right now. Breathe in and breathing out. Breathing in and breathing out. And just feeling the lungs expanding into your rib cage and the rib cage expanding as well to facilitate the stretch in the lungs. So feel that stretch, and you might feel a stretch lengthways and widthways. And front to back as well, into the chest, into the back. One more breath. Lovely. So we're going to start with some forward folding. So I want you to imagine the fluidity in your spine, like a wave, so think Mexican wave, or even, if you're more mechanically minded, I know I'm speaking to engineers here, so you might think of a roller door or something of that nature. So I want you to fold in on yourself so that we can work towards touching the floor. Don't worry about getting to the floor. It's not about the end result, it's about feeling your way to your max, okay? And that will be different for everyone, so there's no competition here. We're going to start straight, then roll the shoulders forward, bring your chin to your chest, like you're kind of caving in, rounding your back, and start to let your head hang as you start to look towards the floor. Slide yourself down into a forward fold. Your hands can touch your legs, or you can just let them hang, and fold in as deeply as your hamstrings will allow. You'll feel the stretch here, especially in the hamstrings. You might feel it in the glutes, you might feel it in the back. So wherever you go, move safely, move to your own limits, and then gently start to roll back up. Now if you're feeling it super tight at the back of the legs, bend your knees a little bit, and that will alleviate some of that strain. Start to roll all the way back up, and we're going to do that again. So just roll the shoulders forward, bring the chin to the chest, hollow in your belly, but keep it firm. Roll yourself down into your forward fold, sliding down, legs straight or bent, whichever works best for you, get the best stretch. Inhale, roll back up. And back to standing. I'm going to come back to face you. We're going to work the shoulders a little bit. These get really tight and tense, especially when you're working over drawings or in screens a lot these days. So let's just roll them out, just shake them out, get a little bit of lucidity there, just a bit of movement. Okay, we're going to move it a little bit more. So we're going to start with hands down by our sides. On your inhale, I want you to bring the arms up to shoulder height. Exhale, flip the palms to face up. Inhale, reach all the way up, and I'm going to get you to come onto your tiptoes as though you're stretching towards the ceiling. Tighten in the tummy, tighten the legs. Exhale, start to float the heels down and bring the hands to shoulder height. Inhale, flip the palms to face the floor. Exhale, hands to your sides, and we'll do that one again. Palms facing in towards the legs. Inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, flip the palms to face the ceiling. So really feel as you're flipping the palms that you're really working from the shoulder joint. Inhale, reaching up, coming onto your tippy toes, stretching towards the ceiling, tightening in the tummy. Exhale, bring the hands back to shoulder height, palms face up, heels come back to the floor. Inhale, flip the palms over, and exhale, float the hands back down. Now we're going to bring a little twist into the body here. So this time we're going to reach up. You can keep your heels firmly planted on the floor this time. Reach up. Exhale, we're going to bring the arms to shoulder height, but twist to the left. Let's go to the left first there. Inhale, come back up to center. And exhale, again, twist from your waist round to face right. Open your arms out to shoulder height. I'm a little bit restricted for space, but you get the idea. Inhale, back to center. Let's do that once more on the side. Open out to your left, twisting from your waist. Inhale, back to center. Exhale, opening out to the right. Tighten in the tummy. Inhale, back to center. And release. Now we're going to take a little stretch through the sides. So think TFL at the side of the hip, obliques, the side of the waist, lats under the arms, all of these muscle groups up through the sides. Intercostals between the ribs, of course, as well. So let's take the feet a little wider, and we're going to just gently inhale and stretch the left arm up and over as you slide your right hand down your leg until you feel a good stretch to the side. Exhale, come back. Inhale, up and over with the right arm, sliding your left hand down the leg. Exhale. Inhale, left. Maybe even look up. Exhale, down. Inhale, right arm up and over. Exhale, down. Let's do that once more on the side. Left, inhale. Exhale. Inhale. And exhale. Okay, so we've given the upper body a bit of a stretch, shoulders a bit of a stretch. We're going to now work a little into the hips. So we'll start with some squats. Most of you should be aware of the squatting. So take your feet good and wide, turn your toes out. Here using glutes and opening into the hips. So I'm going to get you to come down only as far as you can. Okay, so again, no competition. There's no one can see you, just go to your level. Watch the knees, keep the core strong, glutes engaged. I'm going to just bring hands out in front like this, just kind of like makes me feel a bit stronger for some reason. Exhale, come down. Inhale, step, stretch back up. Exhale, sit down. Inhale, up. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale, inhale. Last one, we're going to come down and sit into it, okay? So you might like to adjust your feet. I'm going to bring my feet a little closer when I sit in. I'm going to bring my hands, my elbows inside my knees. And I'm going to try and push the knees out a little bit. If you like, you can get really yoga looking and bring your hands down into prayer position at your heart. What this does though, in actual fact, is it acts like a jack to jack out the knees. Think of your car jack. Thumbs to the heart, and I want you, rather than slouching into it, I want you to try and lengthen your back, lift your chest up to meet your hands as well as bringing your hands towards your heart. 2 actions, lengthening the spine, pressing the knees out, sitting down into the hips. This can be pretty tough if you've got tight hips, okay? So only bring it to where you can. If the jacking the knees out doesn't work for you, you can have your hands here, you can have your hands here. So let's just take another breath or two. And bring your hands back behind you. We're going to sit down, stretch out the legs, find your sit bones. So this is important. We want to make sure, especially as you're sitting at your desk a lot, that you're right on your sit bones. I'll turn to the side so you can see a little bit better. If you're sitting on your sit bones, which are the base of your pelvis into the tops of the legs, you are sitting in the correct position. You're allowing your back to straighten. If you're not, you're more likely to be sitting back towards your tail, your sacrum, and you can see what happens to my back. And the more rounded we sit like this with our backs rounded, the weaker the back gets. So the more you can encourage yourself and train yourself to sit up on your sit bones, straightening your back, the better you'll strengthen and protect it. Okay, so let's sit tall and straight. We're going to bring our right knee in and open out to the side. Now, see how that feels in your hip. You might need to have a cushion or something underneath your knee just to protect it or to give yourself a little extra support. But if you can let it just be, we're just going to let gravity draw it down a little bit so that we're opening into this hip. You can imagine when you're sitting for meditation, you need the hips to be open. So, and it takes a while, it takes a bit of practice, it doesn't always come so easily. I've been doing this for a long time. They've eased out over time in practice. So we're going to take a forward fold again, stretching towards the leg, this time with a straighter back than before. So on inhale, let's reach up, engage your core, and exhale, fold forward towards your right foot. So I've got my left knee out, right foot forward, because I'm mirroring you. I'm trying to remember to do that. So let's lift the heart forward. So we're trying to straighten up the back, especially the lower back as much as possible. And then if you can fold in, do. If this is as much as you can do, that's also fine. That's great. As long as you're getting a good stretch through the back of the right leg and easing into the left hip. So just take another breath. And inhale to rise up. Let's lift that left knee. Stretch that left leg back out. Bring your right knee in the same way. Open it out like a book. Make sure you're back on your sit bones. The sole of your right foot is in against the left leg. And again, you're allowing this. We're not going to press it down. I do that as a demonstration thing. We don't want to press. We want the body to go to its own natural level. Find its own stretch without forcing anything. No forcing. On your inhale, reach up. And on your exhale, fold forward just as far as you can. Now again, I'm practicing a long time, so I will get easily to my foot. Hands might only come to your knee or your shin. That's totally fine. It's all about awareness. You're aware now that this is where you go. Sometimes we stop out of fear or laziness. We might be able to go a little bit deeper, but sometimes we can push ourselves beyond what is naturally available to us. So the trick is, with practice and awareness, is to find your natural level and be okay with it. Sometimes it takes a while to be okay with not being able to touch your toes. And of course, the more you practice, you will get there. Okay, coming back up. Let's lift in that right knee. Stretch it out. Okay, this time we're going to cross the left in front of right. Sitting tall. Bring the hands down in front of you if you can and walk them forward into a forward fold. And again, this is easy for me, but this might not be so easy for you. Even getting, a lot of people in my classes, getting your hands to the ground here is excruciating. So even if leaning forward is horrible for you, sit tall and let gravity do the work. Let the knees be drawn towards the floor and see if you can, because there's sometimes a tendency where muscles are tight to resist and tense further to protect yourself. But what I want you to do is, even if you're just sitting straight and tall, to let go, to soften in the hips, in the knees and the ankles, and just let yourself just soften and be in that stretch, because even by putting yourself in this position, you're creating a stretch without taking it any further. Sometimes you can either fold forward or sit still. Okay, so if you're folding forward now, bring yourself back up to a seated position, and we're going to take a twist. So we've got the left foot in front, so we're going to twist round to the left. So bring your right hand onto your left knee, your left hand in behind you a little. It's going to give you length. So what we want to do is create length and space in the torso between each vertebra so that we can twist. So imagine if the vertebrae are crushed against one another when we're all slumping down. They're going to rub against each other as time goes on, creating problems. But if we can learn to use our muscles to create space between the vertebrae, lift ourselves up out of that slump, we are giving ourselves much more freedom of movement. So let's create that space. Lift up, lengthen, and twist. So you're kind of twisting from the base of your rib cage all the way up through the spine, and eventually into the neck as you turn your head as well. Maybe looking back over the left shoulder, but again keeping firm in the belly, keeping those muscles engaged. And then exhale to unwind. Just again creating just a little bit of movement, loosening out. We're going to not go straight to the other side as I was about to do. We're going to change the cross of the legs. We're going to do our forward fold first. Again, if you are really tight here, staying here is totally fine. You can even support your knees with your hands if you're finding this really, really tough. And I've seen it. I mean, I've seen all levels of flexibility in the hips in classes. So go to where you're comfortable with. If you're more comfortable, you might again walk your hands out in front of you and come into a full forward fold. And stay here for a few breaths, wherever you're comfortable, just be. And coming back up. If you're folding, come back up to sitting. Lengthen, straighten the back, bring your right hand behind you and your left hand to your right knee. Give yourself a nice big stretch up, lengthen and twist. Again, base of the rib cage up through the body, eventually into the neck. Rippling. Mexican wave style again, up through the back. Wringing out like a dishcloth is another way I like to think of this one. Squeezing out the organs, lengthening the spine, stimulating the nervous system, detoxifying. And then exhale back to center. And now I'm going to invite you to just make yourself as comfortable in a seated position as you can. My favorite thing to do, now I've got a bolster because I'm all yoga. I'm all about the yoga. So I've got all my props here for my practice. So I've got a bolster to sit my hips up on. It makes it much easier in my knees and my hips and ankles if I elevate my hips. So if you have a rolled up blanket or some cushions or books, anything that's going to give you some support under the hips, lift your hips up. This is one position that I like to sit in. This is called, it's a cross leg position. We won't go into the names and stuff, there's no need. So I have one foot in front of the other rather than resting one foot on top of the other. This is much more comfortable for me and I can stay here for quite a long time. But again, my hips are quite open. So it might be nicer for you to support your hips with the legs crossed. You can also sit round, maybe with your cushions under you like this, with your feet to either side. This can be kind of, it's quite a strong stretch in the front of the feet. So look, find your position, and it's worth taking some time. So even if you want to put me on pause while you get your necessaries, get yourself into a seated position. We've done our movement. So now it's about being still. So taking that time to become aware of the body, working through various body parts, which focuses the mind a little bit away from everything else that's going on in your life at the moment. Focusing on the body, bit by bit, focusing on the breath, trying to synchronize the breath and the movement, and this is all just brings us into a better place of stillness. So now that you're seated and settled, I want you just to become aware of the parts of the body that are touching the ground, or the blocks, or the cushions that you're sitting on, and just feel all those body parts now touching the ground or touching their supports. And consciously allow yourself to relax into your seat while still trying to keep the back as straight as you can. So there's a relaxing in the hips and the seat, but still maintaining a nice erect spine. Relax the shoulders and take a moment to consider your environment. I like to kind of start by noticing what's around me, and then bit by bit reel myself in like you would with a fishing rod. Reel myself in closer, deeper inside me to notice what's going on in there. But for a start, let's start with noticing what's going on around you. Hopefully you're in a quiet space, quiet place without other people around you, but I know how difficult that is right now. So if there's people around you, notice them. It's awful when you are trying to shut things out. It can be frustrating. So let's not shut it out, but rather become less aware of it by withdrawing the senses into those things, if that makes sense to you. So notice the sounds around you. And then other senses too. Notice the smells. See if you can decipher a few different smells. There might be one overpowering one, but when you focus your attention, you might be able to pick out a few others. And it's that honing in and zoning the mind, honing the mind to various points. It's all about the mindfulness. Now maybe notice the taste in your mouth. And then sensations in the body. Anything now. Your movement may have awakened some senses, some aches, pains, which is okay. But just become aware of them. If there's no aches and pains, just do a general scan through the body. Feet through the legs, the hips, the back, belly, the chest, shoulders, neck, arms, hands. So you can get a sense of your clothes on your skin, so all the parts of your body that the clothes are touching. And then just start to become aware of your breath again. And we're going to do some breathing kind of control techniques. So this is called pranayama, breathing control. And we do this in our yoga classes. Normally I would do it at the start of the class, or again before meditation, to really again focus the mind. So we are going to work towards an equal measure of breath. Samariti is the Sanskrit name for this. It's equal measure, in and out, simply that. So to do that, we're going to start by bringing a count to the breath, to the inhale and the exhale. So we'll start with counting to 4, Hopefully that will be manageable for you, and we'll start to build it up a little bit. So let's all breathe in together now for 1, 2, 3, 4, and out, 2, 3, 4, in, 2, 3, 4, out, 2, 3, 4, in, 2, 3, 4, out, 2, 3, 4, in, 2, 3, 4, out, 2, 3, 4. Continue like that. And if you count beyond 4, fine, just go with whatever your breath is doing right now, and you might find that actually it does extend a little bit the more you focus on it, the more you relax. Keeping the inhale and the exhale equally. Okay, let your count go. And now, rather than counting the length of the inhale and the exhale, hopefully you've already managed to balance out the breath. We're going to continue to breathe the same balanced way, but just counting breaths now. So counting from 1 to 7 with your breath. So count 7 breaths, and then count from 7 back to 1. So breathing in and out. 1. Breathing in and out. 2. Breathing in and out. 3. In and out. 4. 5. 6. 7. Breathing in again. And out. 6. And you're counting back all the way to 1 again. So go ahead with your own breath. When you've completed, just allow yourself to sit into the stillness that you created. No counting, just watching. And just watching your breath as much as you can, following the flow of the inhale and the exhale, just like the tide going, rippling into the shore. In and out. As you stay in your stillness, you may become aware again of sounds around you. So again, acknowledge them. Don't try and suppress anything. Acknowledge and let go. Return to your breath. Sometimes those thoughts might carry you, or the sounds might carry you away into other thoughts, or thoughts might pop into your head that start to carry you from one thought to the next, and that's normal. That's what our brain does. And again, we're not trying to suppress, we're just trying to let go. So once you've noticed that your mind has wandered, just bring yourself back to your breath, to your sensations in the body. So ground yourself back to the fact that you're sitting where you're sitting, in the shape that you're sitting in, as a tool to just bring you back, anchor yourself into the body, just as we did coming into our practice today. Just work the body, work into the breath, and then come back to your stillness. And we'll just stay here for another minute. Gently start to bring yourself back to your body, wherever your hands resting on your lap, or wherever they are. And opening the eyes, start to just move the body again in any way that feels comfortable, shaking out the shoulders, the neck, and shaking out the feet. So that hopefully has given you a taste of how nice it feels to come into stillness, the importance of stillness in our lives, especially at the moment. It's just to ground yourself back into the moment, because our moments can be free of anxiety and pain. So for us not to expect to feel that way at all times, but if you come into a moment, then you know you can feel ease, happiness, stillness at that point, and that's as much as we can hope for sometimes. So the more of that time you spend in stillness, the more you can let go of any other anxieties or stresses. Find some time in your day to do that as much as you can. What I've given you here is a short snippet with the tools that we have within us to bring ourselves to that stillness. So I hope you've enjoyed it. Please come back to me for more if you feel that you would benefit. I'm going to get you to bring your hands together at your heart. Namaste. And I hope to see you soon. Bye now.